My friends, we got problems with journalism. And that's coming from a guy who's been a journalist for 40 years. My name is Howard Real. This is Real Truth. Welcome. I am happy to have you here. Call-in number 877-254-7524. And yes, we've got problems with journalism in this country. And I hope they don't turn out to be fatal problems, because they just might be. Here's a piece from The Hill, political publication. I quote, "Democrats, get a hold of yourselves. It's still early in this silly political season, but you've already gone off the deep end. There are so many presidential candidates, some of whom have no idea why they're running, but all of whom are so desperate to get any attention whatsoever and so hungry for a headline they'll seize any opportunity to invent a phony excuse to stab another Democrat in the back, with the willing help of the breathless, clueless political media. Witness the latest tempest surrounding Joe Biden, whom 22 fellow Democratic candidates piled on top of, accusing him of being, if not outright racist, then at least insensitive, unprincipled, old-fashioned, or just plain old, and cable TV abetted their cause with the endless stories of Joe's latest gaffe." All right, now, folks, listen to this next paragraph carefully. "This whole flap is total rubbish, and any candidate who took part in it or any reporter who relished inflating it should lose his or her political license," unquote. Let's take this step by step. Okay? When The Hill tells the Democrat candidates they need to get a hold of themselves, they're right. Because they are all, to a man and woman, unhinged. They're saying stupid and childish things, reckless things, things that would harm, if not wreck, this country. And they know it, and they don't care. That's number one. The Hill is right again when they say they're so desperate to get any attention at all that they'll stab each other in the back. Well, that's true, and it's easy to do because each of the candidates is fatally flawed in a variety of ways. And the things they're saying are so brainless that anybody with a third-grade education could pick them apart. The Hill is correct also when they say they're piling on Joe Biden. But the fact is, Joe Biden should be piled up on. He has been a horse's rectum in the Congress for over 40 years. He's accomplished just about nothing as vice president. He was nothing more than a cheerleader for Barack Obama, but at least he said that Obama was clean and could speak clearly. Joe Biden clearly is a racist. Of that, there is no doubt. But here's the worst part. The Hill, big-time publication. Everybody quotes The Hill. Their spokespeople are on TV all the time, calling upon any candidate or reporter who relishes inflating, in other words, who's reporting biasly, who's saying nasty things, things that aren't true, should lose their license. Well, excuse me. The bias could not be clearer. Donald Trump is Hitler. He's racist. He hates women. He's a quisling for Vladimir Putin. On and on and on. Say anything you want, and The Hill hasn't got jack to say about it. Say what you feel like. But when it comes to the Democrat frontrunner, well, no, hey, no. Second, we're going to start pulling political licenses. Watch what you say. Be careful what you say. Don't say things that might not make Joe Biden look good. So when it comes to the Democrat frontrunner, suddenly The Hill is wetting its underwear. But when it comes to lies spoken about Donald Trump, or about Republicans in general, or about Israel, or about anyone who speaks up on behalf of conservative values, then have at them. The Hill doesn't mind. Well, folks, The Hill just outed itself as an asswipe. It's worth nothing. It's partisan. It's slanted. It's fake news. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I spent 4 decades as a journalist. I'm still a working journalist. So here's my advice to the young cub reporters at The Hill. First, remove your heads from your asses. Second, if you're going to clamp down on lies and misinformation on the left, well, you'd better do it on the right too. Otherwise, you're not journalists. You're just propaganda mouthpieces. I promise you, your parents are not proud of you for being those things. Your parents sent you off to journalism school hoping that you would defend truth, liberty, justice, honest, objective reporting, and instead you're in the mud with the swamp. So my friends, forget thehill.com. Forget them. Find the outlets, and I've told you the outlets here that tell the truth and nothing but the truth, and listen to those, and turn a deaf ear to the lies. Item from the Daily Wire. Former Iranian Minister of Defense General Hossein Dagan, currently an advisor for defense affairs to Iranian Supreme Leader Khamenei, says Iran will put America in, quote, the garbage bin of history, unquote, if attacked, and will eliminate Israel, quote, from the face of the earth, unquote. Folks, that's not exactly what's going to happen if America attacks Iran. And I'll tell you what will happen. The leaders, the generals, the politicians, the mullahs in Iran will run for cover. They'll hide in some kind of bomb-proof bunker and they will wet their underwear. They'll fire off a couple of token rockets. Whatever we decide to demolish will be demolished. However many people we decide to kill will be killed. They will do nothing. They'll be, as they have in the past, they'll be shown to be frauds, fakes, liars, and cowards. The United States can do what it wants with Iran. I'm appalled that we haven't yet. I'm shocked and dismayed that we haven't yet. When Tehran is history, when it's a smoking pile of rubble, then we will get an Iranian deal worth having. Until then, Iran remains the #1 funding source for terrorists worldwide, with plans to build a nuclear arsenal with which it will cause incendiary horror across the world. So yeah, we need to take Iran out immediately. We'll be back. Here's a commercial break we're going to immediately.
Are you staring out the window daydreaming about spring, your lush green yard and backyard barbecue? Don't blink, or you know it will be knee-high in grass. Don't let the HOA come pounding on your door. Don't be that guy. Call Turf Tamers Landscaping at 970-460-TURF or visit our website at turftamerslandscaping.com. We will get your yard in tip-top shape. Specializing in maintenance and install commercial and residential properties, we pride ourselves in our clean-cut and approachable crews who work efficiently and quickly detailing your property. Visit our website at turftamerslandscaping.com. Our install crew can transform your backyard into the outdoor living space you've always dreamed of. Call me, Brian, at 970-460-TURF for a free walkthrough and estimate where we can meet and discuss the best options for your landscaping needs. Family owned and locally operated, we've been serving Northern Colorado for over 18 years. Thank you for your support and supporting KHNC.
Society today is completely dependent on technology. Almost all services we count on, including food, water, and transportation. Computers are operating our power grids, and yes, even the cars we drive. In the event of a massive power surge or an electromagnetic pulse in the atmosphere, this could render the country completely helpless. The President has just signed the first executive order to identify problems with critical infrastructure in the USA and prepare the United States in the event of an EMP attack. The power and water may come back on, but your home and all your computer-managed devices may be ruined forever. EMPshield.com has the solution. They offer the world's first whole home EMP protection device made in America. They can protect your home, office, auto, solar, RVs, campers, generators, and the list goes on and on. As a listener to the American Freedom Network, you can enter our call letters KHNC into the order code box and receive additional listener discounts. It pays to listen to KHNC. Go to EMPshield.com and find out.
My friends, welcome back to Real Truth. I remain Howard Real, the author of Real Truth, Stay Angry, which you can find online. Go to virtualbookworm.com. You can even go to amazon.com. Okay, amazon.com, barnesandnoble.com. Real Truth, Stay Angry. You will love it. The call-in number again, 877-254-7524. Now, the topic is manipulating, bending, shading, convoluting truth. I just talked about the Hill. Now let's talk about Google. I mentioned this briefly yesterday. Project Veritas sent another one of their agents, undercover agents, with a video camera to talk to a top executive at Google. And Google, this woman made absolutely no bones about it. Google is poised and ready to make sure Donald Trump doesn't win the election. Doesn't matter what you or anyone else in America wants. Google doesn't care about open, free, and fair elections, the democratic process. Google wants what Google wants because it's good for the Google bottom line, and the hell with anything else. Well, when I say it, nobody cares because I'm nobody on a small radio station. When Glenn Beck talks, ears perk up because he's a millionaire reaching a national audience. You like Glenn Beck? Fine. Here's Glenn Beck saying the same thing I said yesterday. Go!
You're being manipulated in real time right now by Google and Facebook and all the rest. We want to concentrate on Google because this has ramifications for the next election. And I don't know if anybody in Washington is even going to do anything about it. Here is audio cut one of Project Veritas sitting down with Jen Janai. Now, she is the head, I love this, she is the head of responsible innovation for Google. Their definition of responsible is much different than my definition of responsible. This is the sector that monitors and evaluates the responsible implementation of artificial intelligence and machine learning technologies. Listen to what the woman in charge of a responsible implementation at Google says they're doing.
Yeah, they all got screwed over in 2016 because the American voters got what they wanted. They voted in Donald Trump, and so Google figures it got screwed over.
Okay, so she said, in 2016, we all got screwed over. Not just the people at Google, everybody. Men, women, mainstream media, we all looked at each other and said, what just happened? Now, she's talking about the election of Donald Trump. So what just happened? We all got screwed over. So we have to prevent that from ever happening again. Cut 2.
Accusations on brand fairness is like unfair to conservatives because we are choosing working to find credible news sources, and those news sources don't necessarily overlap with conservative sources.
All right, you can't understand it, neither can I. Glenn Beck is going to tell us exactly what she's saying, but here's the tenor of it. Conservative input on Google is a problem. No, not liberal input. Conservative input is a problem. Got to be managed. Got to be controlled. Got to be downplayed. Because everyone knows political conservatives are, let me go through the list, racist, sexist, homophobe, Nazi, Hitler. You got it by now, right? That's the trope. And so it's conservative viewpoints that concern the responsible executives at Google.
She's saying here, we get accused of not being fair because what we deem fair is not fair to conservatives. Because we choose the news that we feel is credible, with credible news sources. And what we feel are credible news sources are not the credible news sources to conservatives. Now, is this what you heard from Google or anybody in the line? Have you heard this from the people? That, yeah, we're just picking the news sources and conservatives, you're out of luck. You're not going to like them. But we don't find any truth in your news services. I thought they were manipulating everything. Continue.
Well, hang on a second. This broad is looking for truth. So let's talk a little bit about truth, since it's half of the name of the show. The Green New Deal will instantly bankrupt and cripple this country, but Google is happy to have content all about how wonderful it is and what great things it's going to do by 2050. What happened to truth there, dear? Find stuff on Google about Louis Farrakhan. He's okay. Freedom of speech, right? Except he's a dyed-in-the-wool racist and anti-Semite. What's happening to truth there, dear? All the promises that the Democrat candidates are making about free stuff, free health care, free college, free this, free that, reparations for blacks, reparations for same-sex couples, reparations for anybody wearing a pinwheel hat. Where's the truth, dear? None of those things are good ideas, and it's not just an opinion. They would also help bankrupt this country. So when Google says truth, it doesn't really mean the truth. It means what they want.
All they're going to do is yell at us. So why would we go and have them yell at us for something we know what they're going to say, and we also know we're not going to change what we do. Any more on that?
Yeah, so here's the thing. If you vote for a president, screw you. If Congress is charged with responsibility for making laws, screw them. If you, the Google user, want truth and objective news and impartiality, well, screw you too. So Google is holding up the middle finger to just about everybody. That's Google. That's who and what Google is.
What she said here is, okay, so we have to draw a line in the sand. Because no one is drawing a line in the sand, but we're a big company. So we decided we will say it, but we understand that what we're looking to do is be fair to marginalized groups. And those marginalized groups do not include any of those who are in power. And we were surprised because we define fairness, we thought everyone would agree, but not everybody agrees on fairness, especially those who have voted for this current president.
Stop for a second, my friends. When you were growing up, at some point when you were a young child, your parents talked to you about what's fair. Did they give you an entire spectrum of fairness? This is fair for these people, but it's fair for other people in a different way. And over here, fairness looks this way, but over there, it sounds another way. Or was fairness, way back when, a pretty simple concept? Nobody gets favored. Everybody gets equality. Everyone has an equal shot. Suddenly, we've got different flavors and varieties of fairness. How the hell did this happen? Was I out that day? Fairness means you don't favor one side or the other. That is responsible stewardship of the media. Now, I saw the video with this woman. She's not bad looking. Who knows what she did to get her job, but she certainly isn't good at it. Now we've got competing concepts of fairness. You know, that seems to be a hallmark of this pathetic latter age in which we find ourselves. Things that are simple and always were simple, suddenly they're fuzzy. Suddenly it's a subjective kind of thing. Fairness? What's fairness? Male and female? What's that? There's a whole spectrum of sexualities and genders, right? Up and down. Well, something isn't necessarily up or down. It could be in the middle, on the way up, on the down. It was up. Down. We're living in a fuzzy, benighted era in which people who don't want to live according to the rules of planet Earth make them murky and confused. Well, they're not fooling me.
I go back to the first cut where she says, we all got screwed over. We all got screwed over. And when we got screwed over, we decided to do something because we have to stop this from ever happening again.
Now, folks, if you were listening to all the whole business about the Russian collusion hoax, you remember the insurance policy, right? Page and Strzok talking about the insurance policy. In other words, making sure Donald Trump doesn't win. Or if he does win, making sure we can take him out of office. Well, here it is again. And again, coming from the left, liberal, Democrat side of the aisle. I've said it to you so many times, it's hard for me to say it anymore. The Democrats are always the liars, the cheaters, the censors, the racists, the Nazis. They want to win, and they feel they're justified in winning at any cost, at any price, because they're so righteous and so much better than we are. So if they have to cheat and if they have to lie, it's okay because they're better than we are. That's the Democrats and the liberals.
What is she talking about? A Trump victim.
George Orwell, 1984. O'Brien says to Winston Smith, he who controls the past controls the present, and he who controls the present controls the future. Well, Google, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, they control the present because they control the media conversation together with the cable news networks, together with the television networks, CBS, NBC, ABC. They control the present because they control the narrative. They control what information goes out to the Americans and what doesn't. And now, as per George Orwell, they are attempting to control the future. There's an election coming up in 2020, and they want to put their finger on the scale and make sure that Donald Trump doesn't win. That you people who want Donald Trump don't get what you want. That democracy is not served. And that America retreats back into the same miasma of pathetic helplessness in which we found ourselves during the Obama administration. In other words, Google is working against the American people. They said it themselves. In this own executive's voice, she admits it. Get on the phone to your senators and congressmen and tell them to drive a wooden stake through the heart of Google. Because if they won't play fair, if they won't be objective and impartial, if they won't serve the American people, then who needs them? Let them go bankrupt. We'll be back.
Tax season, traffic, bills, are just like habit season. Come collect it in Northwest River,
James Morgan with Christian and Associates LLC. Buying or selling real estate, call me at 720-203-0731. Or visit my website at coloradoproperties.online. Our office has more than 2 decades of real estate experience, and we will treat you like family. Call us today for all your real estate needs at 720-203-0731. Keep listening to KHNC 1360.
All right, guys, we're back. The theme of the day appears to be lies, not at all surprising, on a show called Real Truth. My name is Howard Real, just as it was when the show started. I haven't changed it. Here's a fellow conservative talk show host, Larry Elder. You see him on Fox News all the time. He's a brilliant and an honest guy. And here he is debunking the biggest lie about Donald Trump. What he says is the biggest lie. Everybody screams, Trump is a racist. Of course, that's nonsense. And here's Larry Elder, African American, telling the truth. Go, Larry.
Hi, Larry Elder here. This is a Larry Elder show every time. This show is about President Donald Trump's racism, or I should say, Americanism. You know, Pete Buttigieg asked whether President Trump is racist.
It's not all racist things and some racist things. The question is whether the mix of racist things are racist.
Mayor Pete said, hey, if you say racist things and do racist things, whether or not you're a racist is academic.
And since that is a lie, it must be concluded that Pete Buttigieg doesn't know what to do with his mouth.
Exhibit A to President Trump's alleged racism, you know, what he said in the policy. Here is a segment of what Democrats are saying.
It's Joe Biden. Okay, now, Sharpton says they were talking about astrology and mathematics before those Greek homos ever got around to it. Now, folks, I want you to scan the airwaves, scan the internet, find the gay activist outrage, find the gay protests over Al Sharpton, who, by the way, has his own TV show on MSNBC. How's this piece of garbage get his own TV show? After decades of saying racist and homophobic things. How's that happen? Here's more from Sharpton. So now explain to me, because we're about to go to a commercial. The large majority of black Americans vote Democrat. But Democrats are the ones who are bringing in unskilled labor from south of the border to take the jobs that American blacks would take, and thus driving all salaries down. Democrat policies make life much harder for black Americans. So now I'm waiting. Explain to me why most blacks vote Democrat. Go ahead, I'm listening. Yeah, I didn't think you would. It makes no sense. It's totally ridiculous. So let's see what happens in 2020. In the meantime, let's see what happens right now. We're going to go to commercial break. Let's see if I come back on the other end of it. Here's a spoiler alert. I will.
Hi, Brian. Even that mitigator. You worried about 5G wireless cell towers in your area? We'd like to know if your home or office is being affected by electromagnetic fields, overhead power lines. What about powerful signals and moving car gates? EMF mitigators answer these questions. Our state-of-the-art generator. We are in the business of measuring, coding, and reducing or limiting expanding electromagnetic frequencies. In 2011, the International Agency for Research on Cancer classified radio frequency radiation as a 2 percent. Other carcinogens, including carcinogens, lead, and alloy. Take full exposure by going to EMF mitigators to 970-300-440. Mention that you heard about us on KFNC 1360. Only have to measure your home and office for only $99. Discover what may be affecting you in your own environment. Call EMF mitigators today at 970-300-3414. Or visit us 24 hours a day at EMFmitigators.com.
Do you remember the energy crisis of the 70s? A lot of people panicked. We came up with a solution. A best way to insulate your house, save you money, and increase your comfort. A best way to air condition that insulation to your house. A best way to insulate your wall cabinets, whether your house is brick, aluminum, steel, vinyl, wood glass, stucco, or plasterboard. Even if your walls were previously insulated. A best way to perform energy assessments. The best way to help our customers qualify for Bell and other utility. 40
And as long as we are exploding lies here on Real Truth, which is what I try and do just about every single day, come August 24th, it'll be 11 years. As long as we're exploding lies, let's talk a little bit about feminism, which purports to represent women. Well, there was a time when it did. It was a while ago. Doesn't anymore. Now feminism represents feminism writ large, just like Democrats represent the Democrat Party. Feminism today is a scam, and it's a fake, and it's damaging real people. Here's Andrew Klavan from PragerU.com. Go.
I am anti-feminist. Force of culture and law. By shutting that law down our throats.
And by the way, my friends, you've seen this yourselves. I'm old enough to remember feminism in the 60s and 70s, and that was real feminism. When the movement said its goal was to free women so women can do whatever they want. So women have total freedom of choice. Well, that was okay as long as that freedom of choice was used to choose what the feminists thought they should choose. But if you stayed a housewife and a mother, well, then you were a sellout. You were a female Uncle Tom. What would that be, an Aunt Tomina? Then you were no good. And the same goes today. If you're a wife and a mother, you are nothing in the eyes of feminists.
What's the result? Take a look at the quintessential feminist icon, Rosie the Riveter, flexing her muscle. The truth is, any man of the same size and fitness can make a bigger, stronger muscle than Rosie can. By herding women away from their feminine natures, feminism seeks to transform them from first-rate women into second-rate men. Now, perhaps you'll protest. Isn't feminism simply the idea that women have the same human rights as men? No, it isn't. That philosophy is called classical liberalism, which holds that we are all equally endowed by God with the inalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But wait, doesn't the Declaration of Independence say that all men are created equal? Yes, classical liberalism was an idea conceived by and largely for Christian white men. But, like all ideas, good and bad, classical liberalism has evolved over time according to its internal logic, so it now includes all races and both sexes. Good job, Christian white men. Thanks for the great idea. As its excuse for the damage it does to our lives, feminism has developed the historical mythology that men have oppressed women and now must be suppressed in their turn to even things out. Let me propose a different narrative that has the advantage of possibly being true. Insofar as men and women are physical creations, their central purpose is the production of more human beings. Women are therefore fashioned in body and mind to make and nurture children, and men to protect and support those children during their relatively long maturation period.
Now, when we say men supporting children, yeah, we're not bothering with the NBA players who go have children all over the place and don't support them. So they get a pass.
All societies shape themselves around these necessities. They created structures that formalized gender roles and attempted to ensure the paternity of children so that men would care for their own. In many societies, these structures became increasingly ritualistic and oppressive for women. But the opposite happened in the Christian West. Why? Take a look at your Bible, Proverbs 31. The biblical ideal of a good woman is not only strong, kind, and wise, she's also a creative and economic dynamo. Christianity sanctified motherhood in the person of Mary and celebrated women's fortitude and virtue in the female saints. The church created a version of marriage intended to protect women and designed the philosophy of chivalry, which instructed men to use their superior strength for women, not against them. Individuals can be incredibly abusive to one another, men and women both. But over time, Christendom tended to elevate, protect, and ultimately include women as women in the great enterprise of Western civilization. Now, the developments of modernity have created special challenges for women. Industry removed clothing and food production from the home to the factory, and thus deprived homemakers of their traditional businesses. Children lost their monetary value to parents by leaving home to fend for themselves. So, while motherhood and homemaking remain the most important spiritual activities of humankind, modernity has stripped those enterprises of their former economic power. But in a Western civilization dedicated to equal rights, these challenges come along with fresh opportunities. New technologies and effective birth control allow individual women to tailor gender roles to their personal liking or abandon them altogether.
Yeah, that's we're just about to go to commercial. That brings me to the soccer player, something Rapaho. I forget her name. She's way out there. She's a proud lesbian, and she takes a knee anytime the national anthem is played. Not a smart woman. She doesn't think America's a nice enough country. Okay, that's fine. Go to another country. Go to a Muslim country in the Middle East. Go to a South or Central American country. Go to some of the countries in Europe. See how well you do. If you want the maximum respect and rights and freedoms for women, they're here. And as long as that's true, young lady, you have my permission to shut your mouth and to get up off your knee and stop making a horse's ass of yourself and show a little respect for a country that respects you more than just about any other country on the globe. And the same goes for the NFL also. No one said America's perfect, but it's the best there is. So show a little respect. We'll come back and we'll wrap things up here on Real Truth.
Square Construction is pleased to help support the American Freedom Network by offering high-quality custom and construction services. Established in 1990, Square Construction is working on high-quality tech and attempts to early project all communities locally. We're licensed, insured, and have experience, knowledge, and skill to help you create the outdoor living and working of your dreams. For your free consultation and obligation quote, give us a call at 303-517-742 or visit us on the web at Square Construction. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a top goal.
Nobody in America does what we do. Our health and nutrition profile is a free 1-hour interview with one of our counselors. We look at what you eat, what you drink, exercise, education, environment you work in, food you crave, and history of your family. Everything that makes you unique for no one is exactly like you. Then we will suggest some good change. Maybe you should add something to your diet. Maybe you should eliminate something from your diet. Then we suggest greener products in your diet. We usually suggest between 2 to 5 days, 60 capsules or 70-50. But remember, you are not obligated to purchase anything. Call us at 888-765-BIRD. That's 888-765-4372 to set your no-obligation appointment.
Join us at Focus on the College Township Store, number one source for real independent media. Find out what the mainstream media is looking at us. InfoWars is pro-America, pro-Grandma, pro-freedom. We are rebooting 776. Exclusive reports, live coverage, information you won't find anywhere else. Tomorrow's news today. Stay informed by listening to KHNT 1360 AM. Alex Jones Show on KHNT, the heart of Northern Colorado.
Item from Breitbart. Rutgers University in Newark, New Jersey is scheduled to host an unusual event this week entitled Recognizing and Dismantling White Organizational Culture. According to a report by the College Fix, Rutgers University is scheduled to host the event on Tuesday, June 25th. I think that's today. That will teach attendees how to erase white culture in the professional world. The description for the event on the Rutgers University board suggests that attendees will learn how to dismantle the white culture of the American professional world. Folks, just a few minutes ago I was telling you that liberals are always the real racists, and here you are. One particular race is being targeted for destruction. That's liberalism. That's Democrats. Item from the Economic Collapse blog. Once upon a time, some of the most beautiful cities in the entire world were on the West Coast. But now those same cities are degenerating into drug-infested cesspools of filth and garbage right in front of our eyes. San Francisco is known as the epicenter of our tech industry, and Los Angeles produces more entertainment than anyone else in the world. Yet both cities are making headlines all over the world for other reasons these days. Right now, nearly a quarter of the nation's homeless population lives in the state of California, and more are arriving with each passing day. When you walk the streets of San Francisco or Los Angeles, you can't help but notice the open-air drug markets, the giant mountains of trash, and the discarded needles and piles of human feces that are seemingly everywhere. If this is what things look like when the U.S. economy is still relatively stable, how bad are things going to get when the economy tanks, unquote. Folks, the economy is not just stable, the economy is rip-roaring thanks to Donald Trump. And California is a basket case and a toilet thanks to decades of liberal leftist Democrat policies. Item from Breitbart. Representative Maxine Waters, Democrat, California, fittingly, is in hot water after repeating the lies of the Iranian regime and claiming that Trump provoked Iran in a tweet posted Sunday evening. In other words, Representative Maxine Waters, Democrat from California, Mad Maxine, totally out of her head, who's gotten everything she has in life by playing the race card, she sides with Iran against the United States. Well, since she's such a good representative of the Democrat Party, maybe she should run for president. Item from the Associated Press. A Satanic Temple member who won the right to open a regional Alaska government meeting declaring, quote, "Hail Satan," unquote, during her first invocation, prompting about a dozen officials and attendees to walk out. My friends, the United States stands for, among other things, freedom of religion. Satanism is not a religion. It's a bizarre, dark cult. And the fact that America shows it any respect at all shows that America is maybe irretrievably on the decline. We need to ban crap like Satanic Temple. And no one should ever give an invocation at a government meeting that says, "Hail Satan, good God." What the hell are we thinking? Maybe I'll change the name of the show. Instead of Real Truth, I'll call it What the Hell Are We Thinking? With Howard Real, your host. How's that? My friends, I have no plans to open this show now or any time in the future by saying, "Hail Satan." And if I ever want to get intimately involved with the source of all evil in the world, I'll get married again. Until that happens, this show stands for goodness and truth, and yes, faith and trust in Almighty God. I will see you tomorrow. Hasta luego.